Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Arena. My name is Michael Chaffan, and with my colleagues is Jake Daniels, Cameron Mack, and Dominique Postel. We're going to jump right into free agency this year. As everybody knows, this has probably been one of the craziest free agencies that we have seen in recent memory in the NFL. So we're going to start off in the NFC East. Jake, what's your outlook on the Eagles' moves so far?
Well, the Eagles, I see their strategy. I'm kind of seeing it as a high risk, high reward kind of deal. I'm leaning towards more high risk. They snag DeMarco Murray from the Cowboys, so they're adding Murray while subtracting from the Cowboys. 5 years, $42 million. They already have Chris Polk, Darren Sproles, and Ryan Matthews. Granted, Darren Sproles isn't much of an off tackle or in between the tackles kind of running back. However, 4 running backs, I don't care how crazy Chip Kelly's system is, you don't need 4 running backs, and you don't need to pay one $42 million for 5 years.
Right. And let's not forget about the injury-prone quarterback they just picked up in Sam Bradford, who's been out the last 2 seasons with an ACL injury.
Certified
And now he's supposed to be your starter. So
Yeah.
now it's
And
kinda
then you
weird.
have Sanchez and then Tim Tebow working out. How does that even work, Cam?
I don't really know, but it's really just confusing. All these moves are really confusing me because you say that you want to move McCoy to save money, but then you spend $17 million all on running backs. Like, that's the highest in the league so far. So it's kind of like you're trying to save money, but you're going to bring in 2 running backs that's injury prone like that. I really don't like these moves.
They should have, by all means, they should have went ahead and start looking for a nice backup quarterback, if anything, and then get some running. You could have went to the draft and got younger running backs. You got Darren Sproles as your backup. I'm not saying he's not a bad running back. He's getting older. You have other people that's playing for them that are getting older, and then you don't have any just the best receivers on the field, and you could go pick up, you could go pick up somebody out of the draft that can be great for you and young. You know what I'm saying?
Because I'm really not scared of Riley Cooper.
Yeah, these are not big threats. I mean,
Yeah,
2 years ago, y'all got rid of Deshaun Jackson, and that was y'all's best threat, and then you get rid of him.
And then he goes to the Redskins. What's with everybody in the NFC East going to each other's rivals? Like, I don't understand, especially the Redskins and the Giants. They have known been taking other people's.
Those are Cowboys.
And I can't. And then honestly, to me, I want to say, out of y'all just being Cowboy fans, I really don't think y'all have made that big of moves besides DeMarco Murray. I think y'all might have made some good moves, like picking up McFadden. Now it could be something just can get him where he fits in. But I really think y'all should y'all should start looking for a backup quarterback that might take over, because Tony Romo doesn't have that.
And you know what? I have been saying that for the longest. I would not mind trying to get a 3rd round quarterback in the draft and just have him sit under.
Yeah.
You're telling me you don't like Brandon Weeden?
No,
I
no.
mean,
Well, the
I mean,
thing
we can
is,
deal
we've
with
tried
it.
this before. We tried this with Stephen McGee from A&M, and he just never panned out. I liked him when he came out, but I'm guessing the coaching staff didn't see anything in him because they released him. He was a 3rd-round draft pick.
Yeah.
And it seems that, I don't know what it is with the Cowboys, whenever there's a star, whoever's behind them does not pan out. Martellus Bennett, another one, with Jason Witten. Did not pan out. Great guy now, but it was still
now, but when it was us, he was really. But at the same time, he was kind of behind Jason Witten, so it was kind of hard for him to just find that spot. You know what I mean? So.
But then
it was
there's a
kinda-
lot of times that he dropped.
Let
He
me-
had a
let me-
lot of
yeah,
big
see,
Let me
pass
ask y'all
plays.
something.
did.
So even though we don't, these pickups and transactions by the Eagles are a little bit suspect, are they still not the favorites to win the division because the Cowboys have kind of really not done the necessary moves to get better? They did win the division last year. They went to the playoffs, but the Eagles were right there behind them. Even though maybe these moves by the Eagles aren't so good, are they good enough to plump themselves in front of the Cowboys?
I think what is going to happen is the Cowboys will be right back where they were. They're going to go out and get a young running back. But let's not forget, they're going to get better on defense. They're going to go out and draft defensive players once again. And then you have the system now where they come in and they tell them, look, you do not need to be a superstar. You do your job. And it worked pretty well for the time
Sean Lee's
being.
coming back?
Yeah, Sean Lee's coming back. We did lost Rolando McClain and Bruce Carter.
We
but
still might get Rolando McClain, but Bruce Carter and Justin Durant are for sure gone.
Yeah.
I think Durant went to the Falcons.
yeah, and then Bruce Carter went to the Bucks.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
it's still the fact that they're going to get better on defense.
Exactly.
That's all it really boils down to, because I'm not going to sit there and say you're going to have the same productivity that DeMarco Murray had behind that line, but you're going to have a 1,000-yard back behind that line. And it doesn't matter who it is behind it.
And would you think it matter even if, like, say, if one running back have 800 and another one have 800?
No, not at all. That's even better for us because there's fresh legs on there.
And if the thing is, we still have the one main card. We still have Dez Bryant. And once we have Dez Bryant, I mean, that's our main star
It
right
doesn't
there.
matter because what happens if Tony Romo gets hurt? Because you know he has back problems.
Right, exactly.
Who's going to throw it to?
Well, no, what I'm saying is,
I mean,
if
honestly-
we're still gonna have a running game. I'm still confident in the running
That's
game.
not gonna
but at the
win
same
y'all.
time, we still have the Dez Bryant, which
Speak-
other teams don't have.
Speaking of Dez Bryant, when do you think a deal's going to get done?
I
Dom?
think it's gonna happen before the summer.
I
before
think
training
I
camp.
think
really
they're
do.
trying to let everything smooth out with whatever situation was going on. Just let all his drama, whatever's going on with him, pan out, and then hopefully the Cowboys could go get Matt Schaub since since he ain't playing for the Raiders no more.
You see our face right now. We don't find that funny at all.
I find it funny because
Well, it's better than having. Who do y'all have right now as the Texans?
Mullet? We got Brian Hoyer. We picked up Brian
Exactly.
Hoyer.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's so much better.
I'm talking about the AFC right now.
I know we're talking about the NFC, but let's go on to another quarterback in the NFCs. RG3. What's his future?
Hospital bed.
Wow, no.
Really? He's not going. Hey,
Behind an ESPN desk. I don't.
Hey,
not in-
Tim
not in
Tebow,
football.
it worked out
Not
for
in-
Tim Tebow
not in
quite well.
football.
hey,
Hey,
like Jake said earlier, RG knee. That's
RG knee.
I've been saying that for years.
Look, it's okay. I really hate to dog on the guy because he has a great work ethic. Off the field, he's been pretty much clean. He's one of those conservative do-goodies people, but he got drafted by the Redskins. He's never had a good offensive line, except for, excluding his rookie season, which everyone knows he went to the playoffs, and that's why he was showing so much promise. After that, it just went downhill from there. Every single season, he just gets blasted into the turf, which seems like every game. So, and Redskins haven't done anything to help that out.
Do you honestly think you just said it. They haven't, except for that first season, they have not done anything constantly to try to help him out around. They've just been letting him just go to waste.
They signed Deshaun Jackson, but okay, so you signed a deep threat. It takes a few seconds to go deep. In a few seconds, he's on the turf.
Run. Yeah, he's on the runner.
So they try to help him, but
All right, Cameron, do you see him going back to the Redskins next year?
I can see him go back, but it's just the main question is,
what are they gonna pay him?
I mean, that's true. I mean, it's true because he's still, what is this? His last year of the contract, I believe.
Yeah,
But
this
at the
following
same
season,
time,
this upcoming season, yeah.
I'm really thinking that he's low key a coach killer. Because if you think about it, Mike Shanahan, that it really didn't work out. Last year they was talking about RG3 or Jay Gruden. So it's kind of like I really don't know if he's gonna Are you gonna choose the quarterback, which is really not doing nothing? I mean, for the team, or Jay Gruden, who's
I
about
think
to
he
finish
should
his
start.
second year. So
I think he should start just looking for future plans.
Well, do you remember they just re-signed Colt McCoy today to another year?
That told him everything he should.
So
know about
that's saying right
And
there that
I don't
he's
see
coming.
no activity going for Kirk Cousins because I know Kirk Cousins wanted to get traded, but
right.
Yep.
well, he wants
I
to
haven't
start.
really seen- Huh?
He wants to start.
He wants to start, but I think.
But I mean, last year he kind of had a poor. But at the same time, they didn't have really a line.
Last question
so-
for the NFC East, though.
What's that?
Do you think Odell Beckham? Do you think he's really going to save Eli Manning's career? Because Eli's going down
That's a
slow.
great question.
Do you really think that he's going to go out and save his career? Because Eli hasn't had a great threat since Victor Cruz, and Victor Cruz has been hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Victor Cruz is no Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
And Odell's only been in the league for a year, and I will say that
Less than a year.
Odell Beckham,
Less than
rookie
a year.
year, is better than Victor Cruz in his prime. I would say that right
that's
now.
pushing it.
No.
that's pushing
No, it's
it
not.
very much. So he had an outstanding season, but now he
Victor Cruz
but
did
you
nothing
have
but
to-
slant.
No,
But
you have
you can't knock Victor Cruz.
you
I'm not
cannot-
saying that, but I'm
Yeah.
saying,
That's not-
let me ask you
no, no,
this:
no,
would
no,
you
no.
take Odell Beckham or Victor Cruz?
No, that's
As of
not
right now?
reasonable.
Yeah, as of-
because he hasn't had a second season. When you play against a defense and they know who the threat is, they're going to be able to. The only way he will have a better season is the fact that Victor Cruz is there now.
Yeah, but that's everybody though. That takes away like stats does not mean everything because Dez Bryant and Andre Johnson got double teamed all last year, but they still put up stats somehow, some way because you cannot double team a wide receiver every single down. Now maybe you could throw a safety over top, but that's going to leave the wide open. And if you have a good tight end, go quote unquote Jason Witten, then he's going to put up stats. So either way, you're going to pick your poison. And if they can go out and get a good tight end, then it's going to be all over.
I mean, Donald played good with them last year. So I don't
If
know.
you're superstitious and you're a fan of the Giants, good for you because 2008, 4 years later, 2012, 4 years later, here we are. It's going to be 2016.
Man.
Is it the 4-year celebration?
42, 46,
Eli
50,
Manning
yeah,
plays
right,
Tom
Super
Brady,
Bowl, yeah.
2016. That would be. I mean, and
That's a
then-
long stretch because I truthfully
No,
believe Callahan
no, but-
shouldn't even be a coach anymore.
In all seriousness, no, like minus the 4-year thing. The Giants, I don't see them doing anything. Odell's their superstar now, which is crazy because he only played less than a year. Is he going to resurrect Eli Manning's career? At this point, probably, because right now Eli's career is down here because of after a really poor season. So
Like
resurrect
2 or 3
it to
in a row.
mediocrity, maybe. But in terms of playoffs, no.
Okay. We're moving down to the NFC South now. We're going to talk about, of course, the other team that's been doing all the moves, the New Orleans Saints. When I heard they traded away Jimmy Graham, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was literally a joke. You took away your only viable option at the wide receiver. It's not even, I don't care what he says. He wanted to be paid as a wide receiver. You're a wide receiver. You don't block that well. You're a wide receiver. But the fact that they traded him away, and I understand that, yeah, you're making moves and you're getting younger players, but how do you trade away your most valuable asset, your young valuable asset? How do you do with this?
Okay, first of all, I hope Steven hears this. The Saints are going to be terrible next year. I hope you cry every game because they're going to be terrible. They're going to be a bad team. I don't even know, honestly, I don't even know what they're going to do with Drew Brees because Drew Brees is at what? He's at 36?
36.
I mean, that's
2 years
pushing
left
it.
on his contract.
Where is he even going
And
to go?
he's-
Who's going to want him?
And he's still 5'10".
Actually, you know what? A lot
He's
of
only
teams,
had two
a lot of
playoff
teams
wins
would
in
like.
the past, what?
I mean, a lot of teams will like him. I mean, I wouldn't be.
Hey, I'll
I mean,
put him on with the Texans. I'm not a
put him on with
Texans
the
fan, but
Texans.
hey,
I gotta quit
the
throwing
Bills,
quarterbacks at the Texans.
Bills.
y'all had a
I think of
chance
a lot
to
of
get Peyton
teams.
Manning and y'all turned that down. So
I will say we did do that, but that's because we were unsure just like everybody else in the NFL.
know.
Two words for the New Orleans Saints: fire sale. They're trying to get rid of all their players. They're rebuilding, and Drew Brees so happens to still be around. Sure.
yeah, but why would you go out and get
that's
a
just-
older center if you're trying to rebuild?
Honestly, and that's the thing I'm confused. If I'm Drew Brees,
Max
do I
Unger?
even want to be with this team anymore? Because
No.
you let go of my number one weapon. Yes, y'all have Colston, but it's Colston.
Yeah, you give him a new
have
center
Cooks.
and-
What is it,
and
Brandon
Unger,
Cooks?
but-
Yeah.
But I mean, like, Cooks was injured
Promising.
last year. He's already injury prone.
Yeah.
You're trying to build your defense with, I mean, like, you're really not really building them that well.
Brees loves
I'm
playing
not
They
He's
go
really
ahead and
building
sign
them.
He
C.J.
loves
Spiller,
Brees.
but time and time again, it's been
Yeah.
shown that the Saints do not run. It
And
does
like
not
that
matter
Ellerbe,
who's
too.
in the
Well,
backfield.
because
They do
Brees
not
loves
run.
playing in the Superdome, and so yeah, he thrives on it. And I don't think he wants to leave the Saints because I believe he's most comfortable, and that's where he gets his most stats is from the Superdome. However, I don't get just selling everyone away, trading everyone away, and like you said, Max Unger, and then bringing in
Ellerbe.
Ellerbe. I mean, Brandon Browner though, that was a good trade.
Yeah.
I
okay.
think that was a good
Yeah.
trade. Brandon
They-
Browner. They really needed secondary help, especially in the corners. Brandon Browner shows that you can act, or in the
Yeah, and they
secondary.
do go out and get 9 picks, but
Right.
9 picks does not mean or guarantee anything in that draft.
Right.
I was, as a Cowboys fan, I would show 2009 draft. We had 9 picks as well. Not one of those players is on the team now. Not one.
Yeah.
Not one player. So just by you having 9 picks is not guaranteed that your picks are going to pan out. It's all about scouting. Now that's why I would say about the Packers, they have a great scouting staff. So, but we're going to be right back to with the new commercial break. So stay tuned.
Approximately 14% of youth received a sexual solicitation over the internet. 4% received an aggressive sexual solicitation. 34% had an unwanted exposure to sexual material. Only 27% of youth who encountered unwanted sexual material told a parent. There are some very important things that you need to keep in mind when you're on your computer at home or at school. Never give out personal information. Never write to someone who has made you feel uncomfortable or scared. Tell your parents right away if you read or see anything on the internet that makes you feel uneasy. Remember, people online may not be who they say they are. Someone who says that she is a 12-year-old girl could really be an older man.
Everybody, and welcome back to the arena once again. The next one up is the Bucks. Who? With the Buccaneers. Yes,
Oh,
they're still
them. Oh.
they're still in the NFL,
Okay.
sadly. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
them and the
yeah.
Raiders are still around.
yeah, they're still
teams.
around.
Yes, them
Oh.
Pirates,
They're
they're
still-
really good.
The only time you ever see them is when you see them on ESPN highlights, but they're never like broadcasted nationally.
Yeah.
But who wants to watch
Whenever they
them?
get beat 56-14 on Thursday Night Football.
Oh,
Yeah.
by the Falcons. I remember that.
The only question surrounding the Bucks,
horrible.
they did go out and get a bunch of pieces with Bruce Carter, and they went out and got a lot of young talent.
Right.
The only question is, who do they draft number 1? Who do you think, Dom?
I mean, we was talking about it, Jameis Winston. I mean,
Has to be James
who
Winston.
who I mean, who else do they really want? I mean, what other quarterbacks do you think that would fit in their kind of system?
What other
you know?
position do they need? Like, I mean, they could get offensive line, but you can wait second round.
I mean, they
Third
got
round's
what?
bad.
They
I
got
mean,
what, 9 picks or something like that? Or,
Yeah.
They have a good amount of picks, but at the same time, like, number one, I think you have to go ahead and get Winston. I know you have a lot of problems, but I mean, he's already ready for a pro style already. I mean, he played in a pro style
Offense.
so I mean, like, you might as well just go ahead and get him. He's already ready for the NFL.
I mean,
You
he's promising, but there's things outside
and
the
I'm
field.
scared of Mariota.
I think the
I'm
only
scared
reason
of
why
Mariota.
they're going to ever pick him is because he's a Florida kid.
Yeah,
Well,
true.
The Buccaneers' best asset is actually the fact that they're in the worst division in football, the NFC South. So they have that going for them. But also, they are going to pick famous. I think they are going to pick famous Jameis. And the reason why I say that is because Derek Brooks, probably the all-time greatest Buccaneer, has already come out and said, draft the kid. And what's his biggest issue? Off the field problems. We got caught stealing crab legs. You got all these off the field issues. Derek Brooks, the greatest Buccaneer of all time, arguably, already said, draft the kid. And I'll take him under my wing and I'll teach him, hey, you can't be acting like that in the NFL. You're going to be a franchise quarterback right off the bat. You're 20 years old. I get it. But at the same time, you need to act better than your age.
And you know what? I love to hear something like that from an old school player that just be like, you know what? I'll take him under his wing. Y'all need to go ahead because he really want to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers succeed. So
Yes.
I mean, like, you see the
Cam,
last
who
couple years.
you know what that sounds like, though, huh? Dez Bryant.
Yeah, Mike Irvin.
Do you
Michael
think?
Byron and
do
Dez
you-
Bryant. But I guarantee you, all those teams that passed him up, I bet they're biting their butts right now.
Do you really think he's worth the risk, though?
Dez?
No, famous James.
Oh, I was about to say, I was like, come on now, Dez.
Because Jameis Winston has had clutch times where he didn't show up, and he's had times where he did show up. And there's been, but the thing about it is, I mean, when a guy walks out of the store with crab legs and said he didn't know he did it, I'm like,
Well, you talking about his clutch. I mean, his first loss was his last game. Just saying, like,
I
even
mean-
though, I mean, some games was on defense, but
But
at the same time, he did enough
when
to
is-
have those 26-game winning
when does
streak.
it matter
So-
the most, though? You got to remember, every game they got out of that season was
Yeah,
barely.
and that's true. It was
barely-
very
it
close,
was
but you know
very
what they
close.
got out of it.
You wanna
And
talk
I mean,
about-
and most of it was
You talk about Jameis
Winston.
Winston, okay, he may not be so clutch in his last game, but who's better in the draft?
Mariota,
Yeah, sure.
he's a safer pick, but he
he's
does
more
not
he's
have
more
the
he's more of an
ceiling. He does
athlete.
not have the
Yeah,
ceiling.
I feel like Mariota is the not so safe pick because
he's not.
Jameis he has the tools of an NFL quarterback.
Well, I'm not
Mariota
saying it
has
as
the
in he'll be a
tools
better
of
quarterback.
of a
Oh,
right-handed
you saying
Michael
safe?
Vick.
like
Yeah,
a
as in-
safer, like he'll be kind of like a Russell.
I mean,
He'll be a Wilson. He'll be a Wilson. He's not going to win games, but he's not going to lose a lot
Well-
because he doesn't throw high risk passes.
But so you compare him to Russell Wilson. Wilson was a third-round pick. Mariota's trying to go top 5.
I know, and that's what I'm not saying. I'm saying safer. If you're looking for a game manager, you go with Mariota.
I think Mariota's one of those guys a lot of people are sleeping on. How about that?
You think so?
He has the hype, but he's still
How
being
can we
slept
sleep
on.
about you when you won the Heisman?
You-
Like, I mean, I really don't.
He's still being slept on because as soon as he's like doing things and people are still like, well, I see this guy and I mean, look what the guy's been doing. I mean, the guy's an athlete. The guy can be coached. You know what I'm saying? He's not uncoachable. He doesn't
But
have
when it comes
problems
to
off the
NFL, bro,
field.
you
No,
ain't got-
they're
you
saying
only
that
got-
because of
I mean,
the
yeah, you
system
could,
he
you're
was in.
right,
You
could.
can
He
be
played
very-
in a Florida-style offense, and when's the last time you heard of a Florida quarterback? Chris Leak? Tim Tebow? Come on now. It's his productivity. It's a product. He is a product quarterback.
Yeah.
His athleticism greatly diminishes his arm. It overshadows it too much, which
That's
is
a lot of
which is for a
athletes.
quarterback is
Everything.
not good to me.
Okay, next one. Falcons. They went out and signed Brooks Reed. I think that was a good signing. I know he's mad because he's a Texans fan, but
Yawn.
y'all couldn't keep everybody. You keep on.
We had some money. We had some money. We could have kept Brooks Reed. Our line is just where it needs to be, and then we lose one of the people off our line that was helping us out last year. I mean, we got a couple of linebackers coming back and all that, but how you gonna let Brooks Reed go?
Actually, if I was you, I would have kept Brooks Reed over Brian Cushing.
I would have, because
Yes.
Brian Cushing has been injury prone for the last at least 2 years.
That's
he's
what happens when you get
expensive.
those roids in you.
Every year, I just feel like he has some kind of knee injury. Like every time I look back, knee injury, he's out for the season.
I know he got some concussions that he's not talking about. You know,
Falcons signing Brooks Reed, yawn. I mean, Falcons.
Yeah.
They have money too.
Oh yeah, that's the problem is that the
they spend it
Falcons,
all.
and I hate this term, but I'm going to use it. On paper, they seem to be a really good team. They let go of Steven Jackson, but they do have Matt Ryan, Matty Ice, top.
That's what he does when the
13
playoffs. He
quarterback.
turns into ice because he
because
he
he,
just
yeah,
goes
he-
ice cold.
but he has but and that's his own fault because he has probably the number one best receiving duo. in
Yeah,
the
they
league.
have. He
And
has the best
yes,
receiving core by far.
They do.
and yet they still can't win games. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then of course the Panthers with Cam Newton's rookie contract's about to expire. Do you think he'll resign, and do you think for how much?
I can see him resigning, but it's gonna be hard. Like I know he had a good rookie season. He had the sophomore slump. Third season they went to the playoffs. This year they went to the playoffs too. But
And
it's
he's
kind of
the
like
only
is he-
one on it because Panthers my team too. He's the only one who showed up. That in the defense.
What about Luke?
You have Luke Kuechly, bro.
Luke Kuechly's the best linebacker in the league right now.
I think Luke Kuechly
said
is a better
besides-
player
I
than
said-
Cam Newton.
I said Cam
Overall
Newton.
football
I'm saying
player, yes.
in the playoffs against the Cardinals, who showed up?
It's the
Cam
Cardinals.
Newton.
But you got to think about Cardinals.
Cardinals has one of the best defenses in the league.
But they had one of the worst offense. They only had 78 yards.
But I'm saying-
So I mean, like
That
I mean,
is true. I know what
mean,
you're saying.
The Panthers
But-
defense didn't
Yeah.
even win the game for them.
Okay, how much do you think he's worth? How much do you think they would resign him
I'm
for?
not.
if they
I'm not
do?
even gonna say 100 million. I am not because no, because lately every quarterback, if you're
It was
if you're a
Jay-
starting quarterback,
okay,
you're
if that's the
100 million.
case,
But I
why
don't
did
think
Jay
he- I don't
Cutler
think-
get
I don't think he's-
115?
Who?
Because
Jay
the Bears,
Cutler?
the Bears.
No,
I'm just saying, do you
I'm
think
not
the
saying
Panthers
that
will
he's
not pay
No,
him?
no, I'm not saying that he's not. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if he is, just because everybody.
wait to talk about the Bears.
What's the Bengals quarterback?
Andy Dalton.
Andy
Andy
Dalton.
Dalton. He got 100 million.
Remember, they
Okay.
even said Tannehill was looking at upper 100
Exactly.
million. Like,
So
who-
I don't even
Yeah,
think
I don't
Cam,
know. What
but
the
to
hell
answer your question, Cam should at least get 60,
60?
70.
Okay, what's your number?
You base your contract. I think you base the contract based off of another quarterback who's put up the same numbers and who's done the same the same accomplishments in the postseason. We look at Cam Newton. Okay, in his career he's advanced to the second round. Doesn't really throw a lot of touchdown passes, but runs a lot. So you add the total of the touchdowns. I think he's as efficient as maybe Andy Dalton.
I mean,
So,
no,
give me Andy
I
Dalton.
can't-
100 mil?
So about 80 million, you would say?
We can't.
I think 80
I say
million is
80
fine.
is
Okay.
fine, but we have to also take in the fact that they didn't have any type of receivers last year.
Yep.
And they didn't have.
Kelvin
no type
Benjamin did
I wasn't-
step up.
I-
Kelvin
you know
Benjamin,
what happened?
Greg
you know what happens
Olsen,
when
the
you
safety
have,
blanket. So I mean,
You know what happens when you have a quarterback who feels good about himself and he feels like he can win the game by himself. He's not gonna throw the ball. What am I gonna throw the ball for if I can run it in here and tear up this defense? You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you
He's
will. You can't tear
gonna
something in
end
your
up getting.
body.
He's going to get about 120 million, but he should be.
120?
I think so. I think so.
You know
They're
what?
going to.
I'll give it to you. 'cause
Yes,
it's Cam,
because
you know?
it's Cam Newton and it's the Carolina Panthers. That's their only draw. That's their only
He is-
draw.
he
as
is
a
the-
player.
he is
Bring
their
the fans
brand.
in,
Yep.
too. That is
If
true.
they let
Yeah.
go of Cam Newton, they're going to be right back where the Buccaneers are at. Right
Well,
now.
they're not. They're not.
Number
gonna let
one
him
pick,
go.
no fans.
They're not gonna let him go because also he's been, like I said, they've been going to playoffs since he's been there.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
moving on to the NFC West. The team, I love to talk about it because I personally do not like them. The 49ers, I love what they're doing. I absolutely love it. They're diminishing their whole team.
You don't like the Eagles the most?
I don't like the 49ers because as a Cowboys fan in the 90s, growing up and having them play against each other in the NFC Championship,
Yeah.
all the time, I just can't do it. But
yeah.
you lose Patrick Willis to retirement.
Right.
Justin Smith, Frank Gore, Crabtree, but
Corlin.
at the same time, you lose your head coach. You just paid a quarterback that is a questionable quarterback all
Did
that
you-
money.
okay.
And then
For-
another thing, their coach now was the defensive
Yeah, the
line
defense.
coach.
He
got
he was
defensive line?
Bro, he was the no, because look, he was the defensive coordinator, I think, at first, or defensive
Yeah.
something, and then after that they promoted Harbaugh, and then he comes back still defensive head coach or coordinator or whatever, and then he comes right back and they hire him right back. Like, didn't you learn? You know, like what?
don't
If that's the
I
case,
would
you might as well
never
bring
think-
Mike Singletary back.
I wouldn't. He was the matter of fact. He was
Yeah.
the defensive.
Yeah.
He was on the defensive coaching staff then. Like he's
Yeah,
been,
he was a defensive coordinator that moved up
Yeah,
after head
actually, and
coach.
some of the players that he drafted was
Actually, yeah.
was the players
Patrick
that
Willis.
Harbaugh had.
They're,
Exactly.
and the funny
So-
thing about that is like that they're telling you how much you're working. You're still going to take seconds. You're taking thirds, and like they're taking thirds. Now you have no linebacker core. You really have is Crabtree even still? Yeah, you still got Crabtree.
Well, I think
But
he's
hold
free
on,
agent,
let's
too.
not forget.
He's a
Yeah,
free
he's
agent,
so
and then you
that's-
got
you can't even-
Kaepernick. I say Kaepernick just runs or goes to hurry up and get a trade right now because they're easily
Trade to who?
Nobody's gonna
maybe
take
the
that contract.
Dolphins. I don't
Oh,
know.
well, they go out and sign Reggie
Not-
Bush.
not-
They already got
Reggie
Tannehill
Reggie
now,
Bush.
but what? Yeah.
Reggie Bush.
What are they
What do you think,
doing?
Jake? What do you
Actually,
think?
that
is
would
going
be
on?
a good complimentary back to Carlos Hyde. I think so.
Well, y'all
I
talking
think
about
that would be a good
y'all
compliment.
talking about the departures, but like let's talk about the additions. Reggie Bush and Torrey Smith. So Torrey Smith has a ring. Actually, beat the 49ers to get that. Torrey Smith replaces replaces Michael Crabtree if he walks. So you have Anquan Bolden, Torrey Smith, Reggie
who won
Bush.
who won the Super Bowl with the Ravens, Anquan and Torrey.
Oh,
so now
exactly.
they have to beat
So,
the 49ers.
49ers, I mean, yeah, Torrey Smith, I think that's an all right pickup, but I think they're just going to be, I think they're going to be right there with the Seahawks. Actually with the Cardinals fighting for second place in the West behind the Seahawks. I don't.
I think
that's a tough
I
one.
think the most decent team in there is going to end up being the Seahawks and the Rams.
Yep.
Yes, the Rams is my
The
sleeper.
Rams
Hold
are-
on,
Yeah,
we'll
I
get
see
into
that.
it. We're getting to it. The next one up is the Seahawks, though. They lose Maxwell, but they get Jimmy Graham, arguably the best tight end in the NFL right now.
Why'd you say lose? They didn't lose anything. They gained. If anything.
I know, I'm talking about,
Yeah.
but they lost some of their defense.
They did lose Sherman's security blanket.
Yep.
Well, his true security blanket is Earl Thomas, but Byron Maxwell, the unsung hero of that secondary, because of course Sherman and Thomas get all the praise,
Yeah.
and Cam Chancellor, but Byron Maxwell always did his job, and he was always a solid pick.
Yeah, but do you think he was worth $60 million?
I think he only had like 17 starts or
Yeah,
like 20
I
starts in
look
his
at it
career.
as
He
like
already
what
got
the Eagles learned from Nnamdi Asomugha when they
Yes.
signed for $70 million a
cut him
couple
2
seasons.
years
Yeah, and
later?
then cut him
Like,
2 years later. Like
yeah.
I love it though, because then that's going to leave dead money to who they can't sign later on.
Yeah.
So you look at it that way. They gained Jimmy Graham. I think they'll be right back where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be top contenders.
And that's
for
going to
sure.
make Wilson such a better quarterback.
Yeah.
Not saying that he's not already a
And-
bad quarterback now, but that's going to make him probably a lead.
And you know they're gonna pay him really well pretty soon. Like they're gonna pay Wilson.
Okay, but consider this with Jimmy Graham though. Jimmy Graham, like you said earlier in the show, not a good run block tight end, and they already had Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson wasn't a bad receiver, but he was in there mainly to run block for Marshawn Lynch.
Yep.
So what's your offense now? Is it more run and gun with Jimmy Graham as the centerpiece, or are you still getting the ball to Marshawn Lynch, who, by the way, now probably gets hit a lot more because Jimmy Graham is in the game and can't.
Ain't getting
and
a
Yeah,
$11
and then on
million.
top of that, they'll probably try to put him
$11
as a slot. They put him as a slot tight end where they put him about 5 yards out from the line. But next up, the Rams. The Rams' defensive line, I'm sorry, you can say about the Texans, but their defensive line is the best in the NFL right
Oh
now.
my God!
No
you
doubt.
have Nick
Yeah.
Farley on the team.
Nick Farley,
with
they just
Chris
signed Nick-
Long.
Yes.
And you have it's another one. Is
It's
it
2
Quinn?
or 3.
Is it
All of them are
Quinn?
all
It's
of them.
somebody.
It's
Brady
it's
Quinn.
Robert Quinn.
Robert Quinn.
Robert
Quinn. Yeah,
Robert
Robert
Quinn,
Quinn.
Pro
Brady
Bowler.
Quinn at Notre Dame.
Yeah, I guess I was like,
I saw firsthand whenever I watched my Broncos play the St. Louis Rams, which that game they lost and ultimately lost the
19-7
first
or
seed to the Patriots. So could say cost their season. They did not give Peyton Manning any time to throw.
Nope.
And I'm not saying the Broncos' offensive line is great, but it was good enough to get them to the Super Bowl the year previous. Absolutely suffocated Peyton Manning and probably ruined him for the rest of the season. Peyton was never the same after the St. Louis
Y'all
game.
can't-
and let's
y'all
not
can't
forget the Rams
Eagles.
actually go out and get a healthy quarterback for the first
Exactly.
time.
Well, he was kind of hurt.
Well,
last year,
no, but
I
compared
know
to
what you
Sam
mean. I know,
Bradford,
yeah.
True. And at the same time, y'all got to think about it. The Rams, the Rams had so many good games. Like they beat the Broncos, they beat the Seahawks. Nobody forget about that. They beat the Seahawks. Almost beat the Cowboys. They beat a lot of good teams last year. They just could never go over that hump. Now I really think with Nick Foles, you have a good running back in Trey Mason.
Right.
You're probably going to get a wide receiver, probably Kelvin White or.
They just re-signed Kenny Britt.
yeah.
Okay, so like they're going to be a nice team next year. They're going to be my sleeper
they're
team
gonna-
next
they're
year.
gonna
Yeah,
be-
but don't forget of the fact that the Nick Foles trade is high reward, low risk. He's still under his rookie deal.
Yeah.
They can cut him anytime they want to.
So if he have a horrible season,
and then they get picks for on top of that. So
Right. Yeah, they're just gonna be the sleeper team. Between them and maybe I'm pushing it. That probably might be the only sleeper team that I know of. Everybody else, well, Raiders. Raiders is a sleeper team.
Raiders.
They'll be a
I am
sleeper
never going to buy into the Raiders until they
I'm
actually
just
prove something.
I'm just saying they're gonna
all
be
right,
a
next
sleeper
one
team.
up. Next one up, the Cardinals. I know they haven't done much, but do you think they can build off of last year? Because you remember, they were doing great. They were doing great
Until Carson Palmer
until
received
Carson
his annual injury, right?
His
No, and
annual
then on
injury,
top of that, the
get
fact
paid
that
and then, yeah.
it was just like his last injury. He signs a big deal. Next week,
Injury.
tears an ACL or something. I feel sorry for the guy because,
I'm scared to be around money. Honestly. Yeah, that's hard.
but they haven't done any offseason moves, really any accusations yet, or they haven't really done much, but they really don't need to. They just need
I mean,
to
the only thing they
rebuild.
did was resign.
Do you think? Do you think they
Fitzgerald.
need to get a for sure good backup quarterback?
Yes.
They need to.
Carson Palmer has never proven that he
They-
can survive a season.
Yes,
Yeah, and he
you
got
need to,
50
because
goals.
last year they were down to the third string, and that's probably one of the reasons they lost. to
You
the
put up
Panthers.
87 yards, 78 total yards. Yeah, you need a good backup.
Yeah, you need to have a backup because the Cardinals are. I don't know. They're plagued. I feel like they're plagued by also their division, and they're plagued by injuries. With
One of the
quarterbacks.
strongest divisions in the NFL, if not the strongest. And then you still have that core defense, which is what kept him, what kept it so good last
keeping them
season
for a long time.
Exactly. And so I have heard rumblings though that Adrian Peterson could be signed by or could be traded to the Cardinals.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
As a Cowboys fan, I do not want that. I want AP back.
So,
in the-
AKA, it's a good deal if they get it.
yeah, I'm saying I want him to have that star in his helmet that he's been dreaming about since he was 3.
Right.
But anyway, we're going to go back to one last commercial break. I hope you guys can stay tuned and listen to more sports talk.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. Got it.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
NBA.
We're doing NBA right now?
Oh shit, March Madness.
Okay.
Hey, hey, just cut.
The last few teams that we're going to do so far. We're going to talk about Green Bay. Do you think they're still the king of the North after all this?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't see why they would.
They still have Aaron Rodgers, MVP, and none of the other teams really got any better. So
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to talk about one last team, which is the local team, the Texans. What do you think about losing Johnson to the Colts? I know that has to hurt.
Texans fan go first.
Yeah.
You know what? This is one move that, as a Texans fan, I let him get with a team that's a playoff contender, and let him get with a team that's even a Super Bowl contender. And
In your division, though.
In your division, yeah, the Colts.
Well,
I
we
mean,
already knew. I said that.
Yeah, like it was kind of predictable unless he went to they said the Patriots, whatever. But it's just out as much as he's done for our team, he's been there almost as long as the team has been around. If a guy feels uncomfortable, because he was thinking about leaving last year, he didn't even come to practice.
Honestly, last
he
2
didn't
years.
even he didn't even come to practice. So like out of respect for him and what he's done for our team, let him go. You know, only 3 people who've really done big things for our team is actually Matt Schaub, J.J. Watt, and Andre Johnson. You know, and maybe Coach Kubiak, but. But that's what I'm saying. Like we can't hold on to things for that long. We have to start moving on because we've been holding on to him and trying to make stuff around him, but we haven't gave him a solid quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. I feel sorry for the guy. He's putting up historic numbers as a receiver in the NFL. Like he's top 10 statistically, and his best quarterback of all time has been Matt Schaub. What does that tell you about Andre Johnson?
Yep.
He's a great receiver. Now he's with Andrew Luck, one of the top young quarterbacks in the league, if not
Another Houston kid on top of that as well.
And so I'm really excited to see what he's going to do because he's going to come in, replace Reggie Wayne. Reggie Wayne had his
Another Miami
injuries.
guy.
And so he's going to have T.Y. Hilton, Andre Johnson, Frank Gore in the back.
The
It's a good team.
thing is with me is Andre, like you're bringing Johnson in, you're paying him $21 million for the next 3 years. Is he going to stay healthy? Healthy.
He is past his prime.
It's
He
just
is
like-
past his
yeah,
prime.
because if you think about it, like every time I look up on the screen, he has a pulled hamstring. So it's just kind of like,
Miles Austin.
yeah,
He's also
yeah,
trying to beat
so-
double teams all the time, too.
Yeah, so it's kind of like.
I mean, there's more purposes you can use with him as besides deep threat. I mean, he's still a big receiver. He can do a lot of blocking for y'all. And didn't they just pick up a nice running back? I forgot who the Colts picked up.
Frank Gore.
Frank
Frank
Gore.
Gore.
Yeah, they picked up a decent running back.
Nice little
Past his
35-year-old
prime,
running back,
but-
But he'll get the job done. He's a big
Okay.
good.
So, last few accusations, of course, the Dolphins go out and sign Sue and get trade for Kenny Stills and Jordan Cameron and all that. They're going to be really good next year. I'm going
really
to call
think,
that
yeah.
right now. Same thing with the Jets. The Jets are making a lot of moves. They went back and got Cromartie and Revis.
You know what?
All over again.
Rex Ryan is mad.
Oh yeah,
This is the defense that he wanted.
Yep.
Like he had it a couple years ago, but I mean, this is what he really wants
And
now.
I don't. I like you said earlier. When you were talking about the Raiders. I'm never gonna buy into the Jets. I'm just not. I'm not gonna buy into the Jets. The only thing they've done well is play good defense, and what they really need to be focused on is picking up good offense.
Okay. So we're going to switch it up now. Since it is St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, everybody knows what March stands for in the world of sports. March Madness. Woo! I cannot wait. This is going to be a
Let me
great.
I cannot wait to watch the Kentucky tournament. March Madness tournament. It's gonna be great. It's
Yeah,
gonna
I
be-
mean, we could just end it right
Hey,
now. I mean,
yeah.
I just say Kentucky wins.
Hey, we
and then
can
it's just,
at
I
least
mean,
talk about a couple local places in Texas. You know that made
Oh,
the tournament.
man.
We got
Actually-
Texas Southern that made it. We got SFA that made it. We got teams that
As
they
a Sam
made the
Houston
tournament.
fan, I cannot take anything away from SFA. What
I
they
can't.
did,
You can't.
I
You
can't.
can't.
We can't.
They beat Virginia Commonwealth last
Yeah.
year, and they are a top tier team.
Yeah,
I
So-
think
SFA messed up my bracket last year because I had the BCU going to Sweet 16.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
And
the
it-
question be if any team is going to stop Kentucky, who would it be?
I saw maybe Texas. I heard Texas maybe because
Well, they've already
because
played
they-
this season, and it was close.
Yeah, and they say because their size match up.
You
So
know
I
what?
wouldn't be surprised.
You know
with
what?
that too.
Honestly, we gotta take it for what it is. It's March Madness, so any team can beat
team
Kentucky if they have just one of those good games. You know, like that happens to everybody in March Madness. It's a close game. You get beat by a buzzer beater. That's it for your
always
season.
buzzer
I don't care how.
beaters every
Yeah, if
year.
you're 40 and 0, however
You lose that
undefeated.
loss-
Hey, all you need is that one guy that
lose that
just
loss-
comes out,
loss-
has a 30-point game or something, and,
Okay,
and it's
question
over.
about it. What team do you think is a big name team that should have not have been in the bracket? For me,
Texas.
it's UCLA.
yeah,
It has
UCLA.
to be
Oh,
UCLA.
yes, UCLA.
How do you get into the
They
bracket?
lost to 30. Lost by 30 this year to a big I think Arizona. Like if you lose by 30, I don't understand. Like there's some games that you just be off, but you lose by 30
yeah, especially
multiple
for
times.
UCLA. I
Like
can understand if it was like Sam Houston beating Texas College by 30, but it's UCLA. You have a hub of nothing but great athletes coming out of Southern California that you can go out and get.
Yeah.
Yet somehow you just do terrible this year, and somehow you still get into there. Now UT should not. I wouldn't say UT shouldn't be in there, but they are the bottom two in my book.
Yeah.
UT and UCLA has to be
Yeah.
the bottom
They
two.
should have been playing each other so we can knock
what do you
that
think
out.
about the other teams that didn't make it?
A&M should. I think A&M.
There's a
should have had
couple.
good
There's a
chance to
couple
make
There was
good
some
teams
snubs.
that should have really made it because there's a lot of people that they just play good or they just maybe there's a lot of people who play really really hard teams during the season. It's just hard to get out of that just to make the tournament.
There's always that conference bureaucracy. You pay you on the SEC and you play Big 12, and Big 12 gets a team in, but SEC doesn't. Like, there's always going to be that in March Madness. I don't know. I think watch out for Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin is going to be the one team that can beat
They are
Kentucky
super, yeah.
because they have the key factor that you have to play Kentucky, which is big men. Wisconsin probably has the most physical big men in the bracket. I think that's the only team that can give Kentucky a run for its money.
Actually, I have Villanova and Kentucky in the Final Four. But I think Kentucky's going to win, but Wisconsin's going to be in that Final Four.
What do y'all?
I will say that.
What do y'all think about Baylor?
Baylor hasn't
Baylor
been.
first
Baylor's
game?
been on that tail since Perry Jones left. Once Perry
Yeah,
Jones left
they
and
have.
all those great players surrounding him left, they have been on that teetering. Like, are they going to be good this year or
I
not?
think-
Or are they going to be good?
High,
or they're not?
high ceiling, Sweet 16, maybe second round exit.
Yeah,
Sweet 16, I
I'm
don't see
feeling the
it.
second round. No, Sweet 16 maybe. Yeah, because
There's always going to be that one team that messes everybody's bracket up, though.
Yeah.
There's always going to be that one. There's going to be that
Valpro,
one
I think that year, or Valpo, that's going to be the team this year.
Well, remember a few
Valparaiso,
years ago,
yeah.
George Mason went to the Final Four, and nobody ever heard of George Mason.
what's that team? Florida Gulf Coast a couple years ago.
Yeah, a
They
couple
played-
years ago.
they
Florida
played-
Coastal.
I remember they played Florida in the Sweet 16. They did good the first half, but Florida just came out and just became
Yeah.
Florida. So
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah, Florida's just been really good
Yeah.
in that this year.
And that's the thing about it, because everybody is always going to choose Kentucky. Well, there's no reason not to right now.
yeah.
But the likelihood of somebody actually getting a perfect bracket, that's why they have the $1 billion sweepstakes, because it's almost impossible. You win the lottery more than you could pick a bracket.
Yeah.
But the fact that you always had these small teams like SFA, Virginia Commonwealth, you have these
started
George
from-
Mason, these small town teams that nobody outside of their home state really heard of.
Right.
Unless you go to like Louisiana Tech where you play against Stephen F. Austin sometime, but
Yeah.
you don't hear about them, and then they come in and upset somebody.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
always somebody big. Like, who was it that Stephen F. Austin beat last year? I could have sworn I think it was Utah. No, Utah.
They beat
played-
VCU, and then
Yeah,
after that
VCU,
they lost
and then
second
they
round.
Yeah,
lost
they
second
said
round.
the VCU, and then it's always somebody that's going to come out and just upset.
Yeah, you always have somebody, a double-digit seed going to like the Sweet 16. So, I mean, I'm that's the main thing. I'm a big underdog person, so I'm kind of really, and I wouldn't be surprised if Valparaiso or another 13
Just a
seed,
small
12 seed, because
team.
you know 12 seeds always be the 5.
Yeah.
Always watch out for that. So,
Yeah. All right, so pick your winner. We only have a little bit left. So,
Kentucky.
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 I'm gonna just say a random team. So I can
but
go
you know
against
what?
y'all. I mean, everybody gonna pick Kentucky.
But
I
see,
think it's
honestly,
going to
to
be
be-
out of Wisconsin and with Kentucky.
Yeah, but-
I'm picking Kentucky though. You cannot go against them right
That's true, but you know what? And that's another team because I really want to pick Duke, but I can't. Every time I pick Duke, they mess
now.
up my
No,
bracket.
Duke is a system.
I'm
Duke
a
is
low
a
key
system
go.
team.
I'm a low key go
Exactly.
for a team off in Houston and go to Texas Southern.
To
Keep
win?
it local.
Just cause, just because you know what? Just because they've beaten a lot of great teams this
They have a good
year.
coach. Mike Davis is a
They've
great
been
coach.
playing
Like,
good ball,
yeah.
so
Okay,
why
Well,
not?
there's always an underdog. I don't see why not.
Why you trying to cloud on my stuff, man? You know what I mean?
Texas
Just
Southern.
Texas
Okay.
Southern. I'm just saying, why
Shout out
not?
to the
What's wrong with
HBCUs,
that?
man.
What's wrong with them?
All right, from
Y'all
Michael
would-
Shaw fan, Jake Daniels, Cameron Mack, and
I'm
Dominic
done with
This
them.
is the
I'm done
arena.
with them.
Stay tuned next week for more sports
Man,
talk.
over
Have a
here
nice
trying to
night.
know my team. Man, play the music. Man, I'm mad.